I want to clarify very clearly, Dark Tony will only be in a very small part of this video. I realize Dark Tony is polarizing. People see Dark Tony anywhere or with anything, they run away scared and just start screaming and just start running away. I got it. Dark Tony is polarizing. He will only do a guest cameo, and I just want to confirm something factually. So, Tony was looking at one of the older videos of the protesters. I've covered the protests in another video. Here I just want to confirm something of who showed up at the protest, which was very, very interesting.
There's Jeffrey Augustine.
In prison for 30 to life.
Yeah.
You give us some real facts. I'm curious about why you cover up crimes. I'm curious about why you make bullshit calls to the LAPD and waste taxpayer dollars.
For those who don't know, that's Jeffrey Augustine. And now we're going to get into Doug. And this is an older video by Doug where Doug was questioning both sides. He was questioning the Scientology side. He was questioning the ex-Scientology side. Because a few people had spoken to him that some of these ex-Scientologists, like Jeffrey and Karen, were not what they appeared to be. They felt that they were being manipulated for money, for secrets, but they were scared to speak out because they were going to get backlash from the, quote, SPTV community. Again, I don't know who Doug spoke to in particular. He does name a few names, so let's get right into it. So Doug put out a video questioning Jeffrey, and he got an immediate backlash.
Interesting that it was labeled on Aaron's channel when Jeffrey just got off as the worst Scientology documentary. Yeah, from his point of view, it would be. I also want you to notice the talking of this movie and the amount it stirred.
And I know immediately people are going to get really angry that I'm talking about Aaron because we can't question Aaron, right? We can't question Aaron about anything. Again, just want to make sure Doug said the words, not me. Talked about Aaron. And Aaron did have Jeffrey on his show where Jeffrey tried to explain himself. So Aaron and Jeffrey have a relationship. Okay, what's the dilemma or what's the problem? This is public fact. This is not disputable. You can verify this yourself in 2 seconds. So what is the dilemma or problematics with Mr. Augustine Jeffrey man? Well, it turns out Jeffrey is a bit of a hustler, as Doug confirmed later on in his video.
California and holds a qualified manager status. Again, links to all this will be in the description and you can see his license here. Now, this is really interesting.
Well, again, that's not a crime. So he's a private PI. That is not a crime. However, that does bring up a lot of alarming questions because for those completely new, Scientology often hires private PIs. Again, nothing necessarily suspicious, and we don't know if Jeffrey is working for Scientology. He does quite a few media articles and interviews attacking Scientology. So publicly, he's been very critical of Scientology. Publicly, he and Karen are very critical of Scientology. However, and again, not disputable because Mango has receipts, Doug and Mango showed that Karen and Jeffrey were auditing people secretly, charging them quite a lot of money, and then trying to silence them about the auditing. So that's been shown in Doug's videos, Mango's videos, just to verify and answer people accusing me of being OSA. That's on the record. They did show evidence. So now let's get to the big hammer. So that's a small hammer. Okay, you're a private PI. That's a little weird. But here's the big hammer.
See by which new truths are made known. He's basically saying he's God there, to give you an Orwellian translation. Those new truths consist of a series of revelations Augustine claimed.
Well, what is Doug referring to? Well, basically, Jeffrey put out these really weird mystical writings a few years back. Again, you can verify this yourself too. You can just Google Jeffrey, Google his books, and you will find them. For a while, he fancied himself kind of this mystical cult leader. Now, again, I want to be careful. I'm not saying he's going to the protests to seduce the young kids to join his new cult or whatever. It could be more benign. He is helping the protests because he has published some damaging information on the LAPD and their corruption. So it could be he's just being helpful. He went to that older protest. From what I hear, he went to some of the newer protests. But there is a more sinister interpretation possible that he is there to gather information. So we know, obviously, Scientology is watching these videos. They're gathering information. Again, some of these kids accidentally could be sharing sensitive information with Jeffrey, and he's putting it in his files. I'm not worried about Good. Good is making a lot of money. He can afford a big lawyer. If Jeffrey crossed the line, Good can take care of himself. But Aaron, as far as I know, has not really alerted people to these things. So, again, I think that's ethically very questionable. If he's encouraging these kids, you know what you need to do. Get out in the streets. Yeah, you get a camera. You get a platform. I'll promote you. Okay, but if Jeffrey's showing up to these protests, you can put two and two together. Should you tell these kids explicitly in a video, oh, by the way, my friend Jeffrey, he's there too? He's a private PI. Okay, with him, don't tell him everything. It's very suspicious. It's very suspicious. Again, question marks, not accusing Aaron of OSA, not accusing Jeffrey of OSA, just some difficult ethical questions that should be asked. Alonzo, if you want more information on Mr. Jeffrey Augustine and his questionable tactics, you can go to his blog posts. And I'm sure Alonzo will eventually feature Mr. Augustine because he was making some wild accusations against Alonzo. So there we are. Again, question marks, what Jeffrey's up to. Nothing firm, but definitely some question marks about Mr. Augustine and what he's up to.